Well, I hope you can hear me loud and clear, even though it seems that this music is a little loud. But somebody please just let me know if you guys can hear something out there. But thank you very much for hopping on this here live. This is the Warp Speed. And yep, I'm unfortunately nursing a... Well, it's not a cold or anything like that. It's just allergies, seasonal allergies of all things. If you can believe that, it is compromising and affecting my vocal cords. So if I do sound a bit off from what I usually sound in my sexy, elegant ways of speech and of sound, yes, please let me know. But nonetheless, I do hope that you can bear with me in this stuffy-nosed, heavily nasally congested nasal passages of mine as I try to bring to you some interesting things that I've been following into when it comes to the sport of boxing. You know, I look at life in a lens that's tainted by blood. I am a non-violent individual, but I do love me some organized violence, if that makes any kind of sense. I used to be a pacifist, and I guess I still am, right? Who isn't? I love my peace. I love my freedom. Leave me alone. I don't want to hurt you. I definitely don't want to be hurt by you. But when it comes to the sport of boxing, I really do like for my fights to be particularly violent, because violence just seems to bring excitement, right? I don't like to watch too much, shall we say, the quote unquote sweet science. There's room for that, right? But when you're trying to put up money up there to see some individuals fight, men or women, you really don't want to see what people call sweet science, circling around and dodging the action and trying to just pop shot a couple of little tags like this ain't tag you're it, right? This is more about let's see who can survive the onslaught, the violence, the execution of harm that your opponent wants to bring to you. And with that being said, this is the sport that I love, the sport of boxing. Now, thank you very much, and good evening to one and all. Good evening to you, Mr. Vince Vargas. Star Trek music. Just kidding. Well, actually, you're not that far off. It's the I think it's the Pennsylvania Philharmonic that's playing in the background, and they are doing a rendition of a song by Pink Floyd. Um, it's The Wall is what they're doing. So that's just a snippet of the song itself that probably doesn't sound too much like The Wall, but it is The Wall, I assure you. And if you ever hear it, you'll understand that it is in fact Pink Floyd's The Wall. But it is Star Trek-ish. I did think that it was a good fit for this year's show, and yeah, I hope you're enjoying it. Now, with that being said, I'm gonna lower the volume on it. This seems like it might still be playing a little too strong in the background. All right, so there we go. I'm trying to learn all of these things right here, right? Uh, when it comes to this here StreamYard thing, and StreamYard sends me these. They send me these messages saying, hey, you know what, you're new to this, so there's this feature, this is how you use it. This little thing right here might benefit you if you decide to, speak or have pauses in your channel as you're broadcasting. Well, then maybe background music would be fitting. So I said, all right, let me take their advice and fit something in there so that there won't be just negative silence right there in our lives. But yeah, I've Dream, I sent you the link. Didn't I just add you on there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you, man. Can you say that again?
Okay.
Can you say hello?
Hello. Warp Speed, are you there? How are you
Yes, I
doing
am.
today in this fine afternoon?
Well, I'm actually doing. Okay, let's be honest.
Okay.
This past year was a bad one when it comes to health, and otherwise, it I thought that I was gonna start off with a better year when it comes to health, but no. As a matter of fact, I haven't. As you can tell, my voice is a bit altered and changed as a result of my very bad seasonal allergies. What I think I may have, which is called hay fever, just allergies, that induce feverish pitch. You start becoming a bit sweaty, fatigued, and otherwise just affected physically because of how beautiful flowers uh, just smell, right? They send out their pollen and they're trying to pollinate and trying to bloom here and there. And those beautiful flowers, man, I swear, I love flowers, but they don't love me. But let me ask you something more important, Dream. How are
How's
you
the
doing?
sound?
How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great, man. You know, the I just got over a sickness, but it is what it is. It wasn't that bad. I think like my whole family was pretty much getting sick, but then they got over it like pretty damn quick. But other than that, I mean, yeah, man, I can't complain. Um, I've been really busy with work lately. Damn, dude. Hey, can you turn off the music? Is there any way you can do that?
You want me to
No?
bring up the music?
Turn off.
Oh, it's that loud, huh?
Yeah, it's pretty loud, dude.
Really? Oh,
It's
wow.
it's, it,
I can
it's
barely
hella
hear it
loud.
over here. Yeah, let
It's
me.
hella loud.
Hella loud? Are you kidding me? It's at 5 out of 100. How about that?
Perfect. Perfect.
That's hilarious. It was like a 5 out of 100. So man, you must have us in surround sound or something. But yeah,
Uh,
go ahead, man. How are you doing?
Good, man. It's just I've been working a lot lately and it's been picking up, so can't complain. Yeah, man. I mean, my family, I mean, hasn't really been getting sick. Um, all my loved ones, you know, are in good health, and even my extended family, like, no one really like has been getting sick from what I know. Um, I know my dad's family, like, it's been getting pretty bad, but yeah, it's just
Oh
like
my
they're getting
goodness.
can't.
Dream.
Yeah,
I'm
whatever.
I'm being told right now by Mr. Vince Vargas, and good even fall to you, Mr. Vince Vargas. Good even fall to the Mexican Chief. What's up? What's up to you too, buddy? He states, "I can't hear
Who?
you. Must be between you two." Mr. Vince Vargas is saying that. Um, the Mexican Chief, can you
He's
hear
talking
us?
about the music.
No, no. No. Oh, okay. All right. Jeez. I was
Yeah.
like, are we talking in the wind again? Because I tend to do that a lot. I start walking around, just taking a stroll, taking a hike, and just speaking to myself like a madman.
Mm. Yeah. No, it's just yeah.
Working good, huh?
Anyways, yeah. No, it's just everything's good. I'm trying to think like everything's been. I've been pretty much on cruise control, because I'd I've been with this company for a long time. I mean, it's probably my favorite job that I got. But before that, I got laid off like 2 times in a row. So having a job like this, it kind of feels good for this long. Kind of feels good. Um, but I've been ever since I've been let go. The pandemic, I've been falling in the wormhole of the economy and crypto and all this stuff, and yeah, no, that's where my mind's been at. I've realized the past 2 years. Um, but I realized I need to like start enjoying myself. So yeah, that's where I've been at. I mean, I can't complain. Like you know, nothing's like when the pandemic started. Like everything's a breeze. And I've, if anything, I've pretty much told myself this for the past couple of months. Like, I think I've learned more the past 4 years than my whole entire life.
Whoa.
Honestly, yeah.
Wow, that's saying a lot. Like,
No,
can
just
you give us an
how
example of what you've learned?
just like what I've learned, like pretty much like the economy and stuff. Like I wish I would have known stuff like that, you know. And it's pretty like I'm a numbers guy. Like honestly, like I've had A's in math from sixth grade all throughout, like not even not high school. I was gonna say high school, like because they actually like did challenge me, but I've always been math like savvy, you know. And I realized like, damn, I should have been into this a long time ago. But yeah, no, I think I fallen in the wormhole, like how the government is, and like how things work and stuff like that. Like I know it wasn't that interesting back in the day, but I've realized like I'm not the only one that's fallen in this wormhole, and
Ah, so it
pretty
sounds like
much,
you've learned. It
yeah,
sounds
and
like you've
also
learned how
self-educated
ignorant
myself.
you were.
Yeah, and just how I was living my life before. Like I was wasting a lot of time, you
Hmm.
know, and I mean, I can't. It wasn't lost time. It was well, because it was good and like I enjoyed my time. You know, my early 20s. Like I'm glad I did all that. Like I traveled a lot more than I did before in my early 20s than right now in the past 4 years.
Yeah.
Because obviously because of the pandemic and but I'm glad. Like I've been saving up. I've been like investing the past 4 years. Like it's been a hard mixture of try or it's been hard to like have fun because I'm just so focused on like
On catching up. So
and to getting my shit straight, like
yeah,
and my
catching up on
and just
the things you should have done before. So in case anybody
yeah.
doesn't know, right, the way that I met Dream, he's a very close friend of my youngest sibling. I met these folks when they were college age, or they should have been in college. I'm not too sure if you guys were, but we would. They were very good kids. I'm about how many 15 years older than you, Dream. So you're probably nearing 30, somewhere around there. And um and 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 I of course met you all because of my youngest brother. And I was the one with the house, and we live in this town called Salinas, California. It's known for how violent it is. For the most part, I don't know if it is as violent now as it was when I was coming up as a teenager and as a young adult. I know that we had some very bad years. And when I say violent, of course, we're not talking violent like I don't know, Baltimore or Flint, Michigan, or any places of Ohio, nothing like that, because those are big cities we're talking about in the millions or otherwise. We're talking about a town that's officially uh, numbered in the census to have 150,000 people. But in reality, there's a lot of people that have been living here um, in these jam-packed sardine-style houses for a very long time. So there's a lot of field workers that are not counted in the census because obviously back then, they were still, keeping on the low because there was things such as immigration and ICE and all these people doing their job, right? Which necessarily is not taking place now. So it was really probably closer to around 200, 250,000. But we do have significant gang problems. We have some notorious and well-known gangs here in Salinas, and it was just a war zone for a long time. So my obligation, as I saw it, was to take care of my brother. And if these folks, his friends, were good folk, I'd let him come around over here to enjoy themselves. Now, enjoying themselves was really doing things such as what he's indicating now, which now in this age of maturity, he's learning, meant drinking, smoking, and I was always a drinker and I was always a smoker. So these guys were hanging out with the big homie, I guess you can say. And I tried to convince myself that I was doing good by them by taking care of them and making sure that they didn't have to mess around with the wrong folk and get themselves caught up into some things. But it sounds like you are now changing for the better. You have now entered into a stage of maturity and of realization that a lot of the things that you should have done a long time ago, you may have done earlier, and you would have been a step ahead of where you are right now.
I have been baptized. No, I'm just kidding. Uh,
Oh yeah, and alcohol.
nah, I'm just kidding.
So let's not make it too personal and harken back to those times, because you know what? Here's the thing, Dream. You are now in a better position. It sounds like you've learned a few things. It sounds like you are now willing to engage the things that you have learned now at 100%. And that's okay. That's all that matters. The fact that you've learned and are willing to take those steps and run to enjoy the benefits of maturity and of responsibility that comes from knowing the things that you should do at around your age. But don't feel too bad about it. I did want to invite you though. I invited you, right? And I told you I was gonna hit you with some strange things, and you were like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "Oh man, we're gonna talk about some crazy things, and I'm not gonna tell you what they are." And you're like, "Oh no, what am I getting myself into?" But mostly, what I wanted to talk about is our nature as individuals, for the most part, to watch other people be sacrificed for our expense, right? For the most part, when you look at the sport of violence, it is really warfare, right? You take one individual, pit him against another one, as if they were dogs in a dogfight, as if they were roosters in a cockfight, and you want to see somebody get hurt, and you wager money, and you get inebriated with alcohol, and you get intoxicated not only by those intoxicants, but also because of the excitement that comes by watching other men and women slowly destroy themselves. And last week, that really was epitomized by fights such as Frazier Clark versus Fabio Wardley, which I believe is a hell of a fight, one of the fight of the year contenders so far. We got Tim Tszyu versus Sebastian Fundora, another one that I think was a hell of a fight and also a fight of the year contender. But we saw how good the sport of boxing can provide our our demand for bloodletting, for bloodshed, for carnage. And I want to ask you. I know I may sound callous and maybe even offensive and vulgar speaking in these terms, but would you agree that the reason the majority of people follow sports such as bare knuckle, boxing, MMA, and things of this sort is not because of the skills, the sweet science, and all of those things? It's because people simply put just want to watch a good knockout, somebody to put to sleep. Or am I mistaken?
Wait, say it again. I'm sorry. So no.
Why do people watch boxing?
Uh, for entertain, not. I watch it to see who's the best. Mainly I'm interested to see who's the best fighter at their weight classes, and I like to see top pound for pound fighters fighting each other as well. I want to see who is really like the baddest man on the planet. I want to see who dominates their sport. I'd be, I'm not sure. I was gonna say I'd be keeping the same energy for other like sports if someone dominated it. But I mean, that's why we watch Steph Curry because he just dominates, but he knows how to make the basket. Obviously, I'm pretty sure it was kind of like the same type of energy with what when MJ was playing. But I want to see who the best for boxing. I want to see who the best is. I want to see. I'm not necessarily interested in seeing like a knockout. I like for me as a boxing fan, I like to see like the suspense and knowing who won the fight. And I like to see clear winners. Obviously, I don't like to see close fights. If it's a close fight, I'm I'm pulling. I want the draw. Just
Okay,
so everyone
well then
can
let me
just
boil
so
that
everyone
down
can
to you.
shut up.
How do you get that? How do you
An
all those
entertaining
things?
fight, a
Yeah,
back and
not
forth
only how do
fight.
you, but you said things such as an entertaining fight. You said who's the baddest man. You said you do like the excitement of watching who wins at the end, but you want to see the baddest man and the most convincing wins. Not nothing close, nothing to draw. You want to see who's the best. What is the what is the best way to win in the sport of boxing? What's like the ultimate victory?
Knockout.
There you go. How do you get a knockout?
And see, that's where it goes. Like, you don't have to put him to sleep. You can, it can be
Then
a multitude of punches, and the ref has to stop it. You know, so
okay, yeah,
that's
yeah,
what it
that's
is.
true. But you can take a multitude of punches like Tim Tszyu did, like Frazier Clark and Fabio Wardley did over the weekend, Fondora, and they don't necessarily stop it. In fact, one of the things that I wanted to bring up to your attention, and I wanted to draw this part right here, and it's right there on the banner. You may have seen it. It states right there that Tim Tszyu's team let him down. Right now, I'm sure that you've read all of these most recent reports written after this here fight, right? I mean, we saw Tim Tszyu from Australia fight Sebastian Fundora from California, the Coachella Valley, if I'm not mistaken, and the United States of America. They went and met up in the middle of the desert, Las Vegas, to fight for two vacant opportunities. There was the WBO and the WBC belts. The WBO elevated. You know, Tim Tszyu from not even no, the WBC elevated Tim Tszyu to number one spot, even though Tim Tszyu was not even ranked there at all. And then they elevated WBA, elevated Sebastian Fundora from the 15th rank all the way to number one in order for those two fighters to fight each other for vacancies. Now, Tim Tszyu basically got a belt granted. He almost walked in there as a champ due to the fact that Jermell Charlo decided to forego fighting that guy, right? But we saw a very bloody fight, and it's right there in the screen before you all. We saw these two fighters end up with bloody septums, laceration above the brow, requires stitches from Tim Tszyu. We saw Tim Tszyu bleeding out, and Fundora similarly, but nobody stopped the fight. So there will be fights, right, where a ref, a third man in the ring, a medical professional won't stop the fight, and the fights will go on. So the best way, if you can get it, to be the baddest man on the planet, to win convincingly, and to be exciting, is to knock out an individual. Now, this fight right there on the screen kept going on and on and on. And now there's a lot of controversies. Dream, they're saying that they should have stopped the fight from continuing into the fifth by the team that was designated to take care of Tim Tszyu, the trainer, the cutman, and if not them, the medic, and if not them, the third man in the ring. Let me ask you something. Did Tim Tszyu's team let him down?
Yeah, yeah, they let him down. Um, so I'm not sure if you've seen the interview with Tim Bradley. He's on Pro Box, and Paulie Malignaggi. And they had good arguments. So did Tim Bradley. The best argument I can think of, on the other hand, like if I'm playing devil's advocate, it would be the ref asked Tim Tszyu, can you see? And he said, yeah, I can see. I can see. And if the ref doesn't see anything that's blocking your vision, like if it's just temporarily, like he can just wipe it off, then he's forced to say okay, because it's not swelled up. It's his eyes can still open. So he's forced. The ref kind of like was forced to say okay. And but that's the ref. That's the ref was kind of. had his hands tied behind his back because he didn't see any reason to actually stop the fight. Like if the fighter said, "Nah, I can't see," then he could be like, "Let's go to the scorecards." So Tim Tszyu was just in the heat of the moment. Obviously, you're not gonna want to stop the fight, you know. So the ref was doing his part, and he was doing, yeah, he's doing everything he can do. But that's when the corner's supposed to say, "Hey, nah, uh, he can't see. Like he's wiping his face continuously, and it's bothering the way he fights. It's messing the way he fights. You know, it's all about hand placement and punch placement, and how your defense is. If you're too busy wiping your face instead of throwing the feint, throwing the hook, throwing anything, or doing some kind of action that's gonna benefit your next move rather than your vision, then stop the fight. Like it's simple. I think I don't forget who said it, but it was a good strategy. I think by the fourth round, I would have been like, "Hey, I'm gonna give you two more rounds to knock this dude out. If not, we're going to the scorecards. You know, I'm gonna stop this. You know, I'm gonna give you 2 rounds to put this dude out, and so go all out. You know, and we'll stop it in the sixth. You know, because we can't stop this bleeding. You know, and they didn't know they're able to do that, or I think maybe they were like uneducated a little bit, like they didn't know the rules all the way. Like they were just like hoping Tim Tszyu was winning, or if they thought Tim Tszyu was winning the fight clearly,
Hmm.
then that's where they go wrong, because clearly it was a close fight, and
Yeah,
clearly Fondora was winning rounds, and they didn't see that. Like they
particularly
weren't
at
like
the end.
worried.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it was like Tim Tszyu was doing his thing like in the beginning, like he was about to put him out a couple of times, and
yep,
that's probably what won him some rounds. But I mean, if Fondura was out landing him in those same rounds that he got hurt in, then some of the refs are gonna, I mean, some of the judges are gonna give it to him, even though he was hurt, you know?
yeah.
So they're just gonna go to the scorecards after that. That's why I knew. I was like, no, I've counted way too many jabs landed on Hondura's part already. Like I didn't even know the exact number, but I was like looking at how many times he was touching him, and I'm like, that's 1 point, that's two. And then Tim Tszyu would come back with like a flurry of punches and land some good ones, but then boom, same energy, boom, you know? And it's like, Fondura was keeping that same energy for the rest of the round, and that's his heart. That's his heart right there. But
So here's the thing, though.
that I knew, bro. I
Yeah,
knew
but
it.
you
I knew
said
he
that
won the fight.
at
I
the
told you
fourth.
guys.
But you said at the fourth, they may have just told him, "Hey, I'll give you 2 more rounds," or maybe his team could have said, "I'll give you
They
two more
should have done
rounds."
that.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. They needed to do it before the fourth, before the start of the fifth, right?
E-
Because
Either way,
no, 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 I don't believe so. Because here's the thing: if the corner, Tim's corner, stops the fight, that means they give up. You see
no,
what
I'm
I'm
saying
saying?
either or. Yeah, I'm
What do you
saying
mean?
like the either strategy works. As long as as long as the outcome is going to the scorecards.
Yeah,
In
but
that
what I'm
moment.
saying is I don't think so. If the corner stops it, it doesn't go to the scorecards, right? Uh, it only goes to the scorecards if the doctors or the medics decide to stop it, right? But because of accidental injury or otherwise. But I believe that if the corner decides to stop it, that would be the same thing as throwing in the towel, right? Because they're not the ones who's at the discretion of saying, we're going to stop the fight because of this condition. It would have to be the medical providers, the ones who would stop that fight. And even then, it would probably be considered. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe,
Well, Tim
homie Ricky,
Tszyu,
if he listens. But what I'm saying is this: a fight does not become official until it gets into the fifth. So the most that Tim Tszyu's team could have done is they could have allowed him to continue on to fight if they needed to, up until the fourth, and then they could say the medic would go up to the corner and say, "Can you continue?" And then it would be, his team might say, "No, we can't," and then it would go to the scorecards. right? Whereby it could be stated that Tim Tszyu won 2 rounds, Fedora won 2 rounds, so it's a draw. So Tim keeps his belt. Fedora doesn't
Mm.
have a belt.
And this is the thing.
Basically, one belt would be vacant because nobody won that one. I think WBC would go with Tim. The other one would be still left vacant because nobody would have won that one.
Yeah.
But once they decided to go into the fifth, it becomes an official fight. Now, here's the thing: if the medic stops the fight because of bloodletting, and it's determined that the cut was even in the first 4 rounds, if the cut is determined to be intentional, then if they stop the fight after the fourth round, then the winner would be the one who wasn't the person to commit the foul. But if it was accidental, then I believe that's when it goes to the scorecards, and then it would lead to either a Tim Tszyu victory or a draw, right? And again, we would go to Tim Tszyu keeping a belt, the WBA being vacant. But once you go on to the fifth, if your corner stops it, if I'm not mistaken, you're left to your own devices. They'll judge the fight, or you become the quitter, and then the Fedora becomes a two belt holder. If I'm not mistaken, homie Ricky just hopped on. Maybe he can correct us.
So the homie Ricky said, "Sounds like you guys wanted Tim to win over Fondura." Well, no, duh, because you heard, dude. I had the bet. What are you? Why you bugging?
And
Come on, man.
actually, if I'm
Why
not
you guys?
mistaken,
No, duh. I okay. It
no
said I
duh.
for one. I for one glad Tim didn't show quit in him. That made it for a great fight. Yeah, I mean, as a fan, great fight. You know, it's just, yeah, I have no issue with Fondora. I mean, I obviously do because I lost the bet. But as far as a fan, Fondora deserved to win that fight, and I think Fondora gives all those guys a hard time. He's already given us some classics already. I know he's lost on, he got knocked out, but he's gonna show heart to all these top guys. I think he beats Errol Spence, but like, but I just don't want that fight because let's keep it the standard. Let's keep the standard where we want it, and have him fight Lubin. Have him fight Lubin or Jesse or Jesus Ramos. You know,
You're talking about Tim.
no, I'm talking about Errol.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah,
Tim,
yeah.
and then
No,
Tim,
I don't want to talk
Tim.
about Arrow. Did you even
Okay,
say
yeah, yeah, my
Arrow?
bad.
Did you even say Arrow? Like I didn't even hear the part where you threw it. I was like, "Where's this?
I
What do
did.
you mean these names? Where are you getting these names
I
from?"
know,
Oh,
my
okay,
bad.
maybe
Yeah,
I was reading the text and everything. But no,
I
no,
went
no.
I went
See,
down the rabbit.
yeah,
I
you
went
went
down the
down a
rabbit hole.
rabbit hole.
Yeah, but yeah,
And
no, I'm just saying, like, Tim Zoo needs a rematch. That's the rematch.
I don't
But
agree
it
with that.
sucks. But it sucks because Fundura's out for till September, but he gives all those guys a hard time, bro. He gives all of them a hard time. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
uh,
agree.
that's why I don't mind him fighting any of these top guys. But it's just for it can't be Errol. He don't deserve that shot. Have him. Yeah, I was gonna go back, but have
Goodness.
Sebastian fight. Have Sebastian fight. Obviously Crawford. Have him fight him. Because I don't know who else holds the other belts at 154.
Uh,
Um,
I think they're for the
you know,
most part pretty vacant, buddy.
they're
I mean,
vacant.
well,
Really,
yeah, I mean, they stripped. I
Jamal?
think everybody stripped Jamal from all of his belts.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
everybody's just basically at a vacancy, if I'm not mistaken. We can
Hmm.
research it. Maybe somebody could be
Hmm.
kind enough to just search who the current champions are. But I believe they're mostly just held by what are they called? Like uh, either well, obviously Jamel is the champion in recess for those two belts that actually were disputed this weekend. So as soon as he decides to come back, he would have first dibs, not
Hmm.
necessarily Terrence Crawford. He would have first dibs, but since he ain't said nothing and nobody's pressuring him, he's probably enjoying
Eh,
a dip in the Bahamas or
dude,
something.
I know dude. If Fundora fights the way he fought Tim Zoo, um, like if he fights a shorter man in in Crawford like that, dude, I think that's like an 11-inch difference. Crawford is like 5'7". That's insane, bro. That's like if he stays away, dude. He could win some rounds on Terrence. I'm just saying. Like, I know Terrence is obviously gonna put some hands on him, but dude, how much like Fundura has felt some of the hardest punchers, like straight to the chin, bro. Like he's felt the hardest punch already, bro. And they're just I don't, and I can see the Terrence Crawford hurting him, but it's just he's just a shorter man, dude.
Yeah,
That's
but
a
here's the
huge
thing.
difference,
Brian
dude.
Mendoza put hands and knocked out Sebastian
How
Fundora.
tall is he?
Probably 5'9", the same
Okay.
as Tim Tszyu, and Tim Tszyu obviously put hands on Fedora. In fact, by the
Yeah.
start of by the midway second round, you saw that 1-2 that he hit, boom, and I thought he was about to knock out or knock down Fedora. But yep, so people can definitely put hands. I remember, I'm not too sure if I spoke to you about it, but I believe I definitely spoke to the homie Ricky about it. I said all it takes is Sebastian Fedora to find it in his repertoire to throw a jab. If he throws in the jab, that's the that's the dynamic that will change the whole outcome of all of these fights going forward, right?
Yeah, it
Um,
is.
but here's the thing. Let's read a couple of these comments, right?
Okay.
Mr. Vince Vargas says, okay, Mr. Vince Vargas, well, first off, he reminds us that 10 days out, Ruben Drac Villa, top rank, let's go Villa. Actually, he prefers
Villa.
it said Villa, not Villa. So Villa. So Villa is going to be fighting over there in, I believe, in Arlington, Texas, top rank, and he states he goes on and says the ringside doctors needed to step in. Now, here's the one thing that I wanted to address. He states, Mr. Vince Vargas states, wiping your face, placing blood on your own gloves, and hitting the opponent with those same bloody gloves. Time needs to be called. Who wants to get? Who wants to get with bloody gloves? Yuck! Just kidding. Now, I'm sure that you've heard this, right? Uh, it's dangerous for blood to get into your eye because if blood gets into your eye, it blinds you. Now, to some extent, that is true and not so true, right? There is truth in stating that blood
Well,
getting in your eyes can blind
I
you.
have experience.
What do you
I
mean you have
I
experienced?
well, cause I got cut over my like my eyebrow, but I
Uh,
had to wear glasses for a little bit after that.
yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah. So
like
you probably had this condition called a hyphema, right? A
yeah.
hyphema is when blood gets in your eyes. It's
Mhm.
hyphema. Let me just bleeding and oh wait, bleeding in your eye. It states right here. Just a quick Google search because I put can blood in your eyes make you go blind? Most people recover from a hyphema with only at-home treatment in a few days. It
Yeah.
is rare to need surgery. However,
Mhm.
severe hyphema can cause blindness in the affected eye. It is important to get your eye examined by your healthcare provider or in the emergency room as soon as you notice bleeding in your eye. Now, now here's the thing. Remember that I
Mm.
preached while we were still hopping on the homie Ricky podcast, not to self-diagnose because all of a sudden I thought chewing big league chew gum was gonna lead me to liver conditions, right? That's what I get for trying to you know figure out what may or may not have been going on, but I may be completely mistaken. Maybe they're thinking blood in your own eye. But we, of course, are trying to know if blood from others getting into your own eye can blind you, right? Can
Mm.
blood from others, let me see, can blood landing well, in the meantime, tell us about what happened to you.
Oh yeah, no, I was playing football.
Uh-huh.
And some dude just like clotheslined me, and it was flag football. And yeah, and pretty much this was in middle school, like my eighth grade year. And this dude just pretty much elbowed me, and like my eye was kind of swollen, and then it was also cut, and I was just like bleeding. I remember I was like, God damn, like I was not gonna lie, I was crying, but I was like, oh shit, like the principal came and he told me to lay down, and I was like, the fuck, I'm gonna lay down. I was gushing, bro, like. Like, why would I want to lay down for it? Like let the shit go down. Like put something on it, you know. Like, but nope. He told me to lay down. I lay down, and then boom, it just goes all over my scalp. So I have like this red hair. I'm like, thank you, fucking asshole. You know, like in my head. Like in my head, you know. So I'm just like, well, now I gotta like really take a shower now, you know. So now I gotta go to the doctor on duty, you know, and get the shit stitched up with red hair. Thank you, you know. So um, yeah, so yeah, that's what happened, and my eye was like had this like red shit in it because like he got me pretty good like in the eye before I
Uh-huh.
could even blink. So he got me like right in the eye. But yeah, that shit hurt, bro, my eyes. So I think like after that, like I went to the eye doctor and I got some prescription glasses, and I got like these cool little. I still got them to this day, but I got some Converse glasses. I thought it was all cool, but I didn't need them anymore, you know, because I was like I wasn't used to wearing glasses, but pretty much like that shit went away, and I was like good, you know.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's what happened with that.
Okay, so yeah, so if blood gets in your eye, like blood splashes in your eye, you won't
Hmm.
go blind.
Nah, I don't
you'll
think not.
you'll be blinded because the
There's
blood
levels.
will be in your in
Yeah,
the periphery of your vision, but you can just rinse it off, right? But what they
yeah,
mean,
it'll
I
come
guess,
off.
is that it'll impair your vision in a sport of boxing where punches are coming at
Yeah,
you and you should be able to see everything. So yeah, it's not a permanent.
yeah, cause
So yeah, I just wanted to make sure
you
that,
ever
right?
seen yeah, cause you ever seen like like dudes get they like into fights like they got like bloodshot red eyes, like their eyes literally got blood in them,
Yeah,
like literally like you can't see, you know, like you literally can't see like some for parts of your vision are gone, you know,
yeah. Oh
but
my
it's just
god.
it goes away though, you know, like the ref like you know like or not the ref. I was reading Rick's fucking
Yeah, I'm
comment right
reading
now.
Vince's.
Uh, Yeah, no, Rick. I was reading Rick's comment. I
What's he
just kept
say?
seeing
What's he
ref.
say?
I kept seeing ref, so I said ref right now. But
Oh God. So
yeah, no. Let
which
me
one are
read
you
it.
reading?
The latest one. Uh, so Ricky, he said, yeah, the ref or doctor should have stopped that fight. That was excessive, but I'm glad that Tim wasn't the one that was clamoring for the fight to stop. Yeah, yeah, Tim Tszyu isn't a sore loser. You know, he was willing to fight, and I don't know if it's safe to say that he was doing it for us. I think he did it because he really thought he could put him out, and you seen it. It's just he kept using some of his movements
Uh-huh.
were being preoccupied by him wiping it off. You know, I just feel like it was such a variable in the fight, man, that just kind of got in the way of Tim Tszyu's defense in this bout. You know, like I think he could have knocked him out, bro. Like I think that's why we need the rematch so bad because it's just not a good way. It's memorable, you know, it's memorable, but it just leaves an unsatisfact like just leaves you unsatisfied, you know, because it, you know, Tim Tszyu being all messed up. Unless, you know, Fundura didn't really have a problem, you know, like he was bleeding from his nose, but that shit stopped. You know, I'm pretty sure that shit stopped for a little bit, and but every time he got hit, it just started again. But it's not. It's obviously not getting in the way of his vision, you know. So, like he was kind of taking advantage of that whole situation, and you can't blame him for that, you know. So we need the rematch. I need to see, if Tim Tszyu can bring, you know, like you know that KO, you know, because
I uh
I
I
really think
disagree.
he could have closed it off.
I
But
disagree.
go ahead.
No, well, I disagree on principle, right? That that there was a clear winner, right? We know first off, we know first off that the most respectable champion is he who has the opportunity to fight a defending champion and beat that man, right? But when you're talking about vacant belts, like in this case, that nobody got to fight a defending champion, and Jermel Charlo, because he decided to take a hiatus, walk away from the sport, and otherwise it's unsatisfactory. It's a reality of the sport that a lot of the times some of these champions will fight for vacancies. You can't really
I got a
fault
good
him, right?
I got
Like
a
in the
good
case of
question.
Terence Crawford, he's won a few of his fights on vacancies. Nonetheless, it's unsatisfactory. You mostly want to win by beating he who beat another for a belt. In this case, these two belts were empty initially, and those belts, it's not like Tim was defending his belt, right? Because he never really procured it; he was just granted it. So, and the fact that he lost, and they were both handed to Sebastian Fedora in a very good fight, which I thought a draw would have been perfect, or maybe a win in favor of Tim Tszyu. But in a fight like that, really, it's just 1 point off. It could have been a draw. 1 point is 1 point away from two, so Tim may have lost at the hands of Fedora. But what I'm saying is, uh, it's not. It's not a draw. So if it's not a draw, there's a winner. The only reason why people are asking for, and I think you said it yourself. You said, I know that Tim Tszyu could get a knockout. The only reason why people want to watch a rematch is to have the outcome different than what we saw, right? And I don't necessarily care for that. I just care for the sport to move on, the belts to be defended by others. You've had your chance, you lost. The judges, if they feel so bad about it, they should have gotten the right call the first time around. If they didn't, guess what? It shows that this sport is judged by humans, and humans are corruptible and fallible, and they make mistakes.
Yeah.
And maybe most
Uh,
people thought Tim Tszyu won, but hey, let's move on.
and yeah, and those are just like I just want the rematch. I know how the business works. It's just like uh like I said, I like boxing in order, but some we're not gonna get what we want, and that's what I kind of agree with Rick. Like I just got a feeling he's gonna fight Arrow. Like that's the money grabber.
Oh
It's
God,
gonna
here
be
we
a
go
bad
with the
taste.
arrow talk. Yeah,
I
yeah, but
mean,
read this right here. Okay, this is what Ricky is on, right? First off, before we go on, because obviously, homie Ricky and Mr. Vince Vargas are the ones engaging the most. But he states, one, he says, sounds like you guys wanted Tim to win over Fedora. Obviously, you addressed that because you said, yeah, I had money for him, right? Uh, he goes on, I for one was glad Tim didn't show quit in him. That made for a great fight. Of course, of course. But here's the thing, right? What I'm noticing right now, Dream, and I'm not too sure if you've noticed, right? Look at what look at what look at what Paulie Malignaggi is saying. And Chris Algieri, Chris Algieri contends. This is a report written by Mr. Oh goodness, he didn't even put his name. I guess he didn't really care. They just put it down as boxing scene staff. At the boxing scene staff, I guess everybody wrote like
that's
like a paragraph, and they said, let's just all take credit for it. He says, they say, hey, he, she, they. How do you identify? We, they. Um,
funny.
yeah, former champ Algeri contends Sue's corner could have intervened to save title. Well, could, obviously. We know that. Should they? Have, and that's the question: should they have intervened? And they go on to write.
I wouldn't have. Yeah,
Yeah, keep going while I find these
yeah,
quotes.
yeah. I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have taken Fundora lightly. I would have been like, dude, this guy's giving Tim Tszyu a hard time. Um, he like if it goes like it's gonna be a close fight. If it keeps going like this, I would have been like, let's just use the excuse of the cut, and get the rematch and put this dude out. Give like I said, like give him one more or two more rounds and be like, hey, two more rounds if we're gonna stop this fight regardless. I don't care how good you're doing.
Okay, so let me
Like
ask you: in the
yeah.
first 4 rounds, who did you have winning? And what did you see in the fight in the first four
It
rounds?
was it was close, man. That's the thing. It was
Really?
like a draw. It was like a
Really?
draw. Yeah. So that's why I
Okay.
would have been like, that's why. And it would have been like, nah, dude, like let's just go to the scorecards. This is too close to call.
Okay.
You know?
So, homie Ricky, Mr. Vince Vargas, if you guys recall that fight, what did you guys have it by the end of the fourth? Before the start of the fifth, end of the fourth? Because I remember the first round. Uh, okay, there you go. I agree with homie Ricky. The first four rounds may have been a split, maybe 3-1 in favor of Tim, and I do see that. Um,
Yeah.
remember, the first round was clearly a Tim round. The
Yeah.
second
But
round,
both
he was
outcomes,
he hit Sebastian Fedora with a 2-1, boom boom, and I think
but
Sebastian Fedora's nose broke right then, started bleeding,
yeah.
and he was
Hmm.
stumbling back. And then of course Tim
Hmm.
Tszyu started to tee off on him, and that's when Tim Tszyu went in with that shoulder dip, and then
But it's all about
Sebastian
keeping
lifted
the
his
belts
elbow
though.
and cut him. Huh?
It's all about keeping the belt, Like that's what coming out of this fight with the belt, And a draw or a win, would have done. That's what would happen.
Okay, okay, okay. So what you're saying, just to confirm, what you're saying is what mattered for Tim Tszyu at one of the biggest fights he's ever had, the biggest fight, one of the most significant ones. Under the impression, of course, that America is still the mecca of boxing, that he had to win, not necessarily perform and excite, but win. That's what mattered to him.
Hmm. Hmm.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, yeah. That's what should have mattered to him. But he's just so emotionally invested in when he fights. It's like your adrenaline's up. Like he really wanted to put him out. I mean, that's when a trainer comes in, man. Like you can't have the fighter make emotional decisions while he's having one of the biggest
See,
fights of his life.
this is
You
how
gotta save him from him.
fickle boxing fans are, right?
What's a fickle?
Fickle means that you're lukewarm. You change your opinions all the time. Inconsistent, right? Uh, and I don't just mean for you. I think it applies for most people that address boxing, right? Here's the thing: if Tim Tszyu says that he's gonna go knock out his opponent, he wants to make it convincing. Up to the build-up, he's saying he wants to entertain. He wants to take all of the toughest fights, win or lose. It doesn't matter. Crawford, Jamel, you know, anybody, Fondora, Mendoza. He says he wants to fight anybody. In fact, he said after this fight that he lost, he said, if Spence wants it, if Crawford wants it, I'll take them. He says he wants to fight them all, and if he fights with vigor to try and win convincingly and excite while beating his opponents and entertaining the fans, we criticize him. Why? Because he should have done everything to win. But here's the thing, though: with somebody like Shakur Stevens does everything to win and does the complete opposite of what Tim Tszyu does. Why do we say, oh, well, he should have done this, he should have been more exciting, he should have done this and that? It's almost like we're looking for somebody right in the middle that does everything absolutely right.
Mm.
It's like the fans always want something from one guy, another thing from another guy, and they're never consistent. If I actually approve of a fighter that wants to go out there and destroy his opponents. This episode is about the demand for violence that us boxing fans seek. This is the reason why MMA is drawing a lot of fans from the sport of boxing into their rings, into their stables of followers and of viewers, because it promises violence. And the sport of boxing promises so many other things because of the different styles. But what I'm saying is this: we want a fighter to win, but don't do everything to risk losing. And then we tell the other fighter, go out there and win, but you should have maybe stopped the fight right there because the win matters more than the entertainment. I actually think that Tim Tszyu won many fans over this past weekend, and so did Sebastian Fondora, that they would have gotten if they had just made it like a stinker and decided to keep the belts by stopping the fight at the fourth.
Yeah, man. Yeah, they should have stopped that fight, man. The corner should have stopped that fucking fight.
All right. Well, this is what Jerry said. Chris Jerry. He said Chris Jerry suggested that the corner stop the fight. He says he was fighting, he was willing to fight. Tim Tszyu wanted to keep on going. There was no quitting him and all that. He showed me he was a warrior, fighter through. But was that the right move? He asked.
Yeah, what was the right move?
Oh, somebody's knocking over here, and they just made me disconnect my mic.
Well,
Yeah, Dream, can you hear me? Oh God, here we go again. Here we go again. Dream, can you hear me? Oh man,
hello,
can
warp
you
speed.
can you hear me?
Can I hear
Hey, can
you?
you hear me?
Can I hear you? I'm just
Yeah,
kidding. Go ahead, man. I can hear you.
oh, you can hear
What
me?
happened? Yeah, yeah, I can
Oh,
hear you.
so somebody knocked at the door, and then I had to get up because I'm right here, just with my feet right here in the couch. The dog sleeping right next to me, and somebody knocks on the door. It's my son. He wants me to open up the door, and I'm like, "Oh God!" I
You
get
said your
myself
dog's
up, and I
humping?
no sleeping right next to me.
Oh.
And yo, man, you're gross, man. Anyway,
Pause. I thought
so
that's what you said, man.
nah, that's just the nose. It's speaking. It's speaking. It sounds like that. Like Mr. Vince Vargas says, Larry Merchant and all. So he goes on. He says that he doesn't know whether or not Tim Tszyu made the right move by continuing to fight. Right, and he thinks that his team should have stopped in, gotten the fight stopped. He states the following: he came out on fire. First two rounds looked fantastic. He gets cut at the end of the second round. Very, very bad cut. We need the fight to go two more rounds so that it can become official rather than be called a no contest. And if it will go to a score card, if it does get stopped due to an illegal blow, because it was an accidental illegal blow, right? And he goes on and states that Fedora, for his part, boxed a similar amount of time with a badly broken nose that also bled profusely throughout. But Tim Tszyu just kept getting worse. And he states now his eyesight is hindered. Rounds 3 and 4 pretty close. Hard to tell who is actually winning those rounds. But if you stop that fight at the end of round 4, his corner steps in and says, "Hey, our guys can't see. This is too much." They will stop the fight. You say you can't see. They will stop the fight. Worst case scenario, Tim Tszyu comes out with a draw and retains his title. You put out 4 rounds, you get a cut, but at least you've got your title. You can protect your title, or you might have won both titles. Is what he says, because he would go to the scorecards, right? And it was he would win one, and because he decided to fight, Tim Tszyu lost his WBO on a vacant split decision, and Fedora collected the vacant WBC. Now, this is, of course, Chris Algieri under trying to explain why his team should have stopped the fight uh, in order for Tim to be the winner. Um, but so far he's not really, and maybe he does address it, but so far he's not really saying that he should have stopped the fight for the reasons of the safety of the fighter, even though I'm sure he addressed it. But I also found another very interesting quote, a couple of interesting quotes by Paulie Malignaggi, who he looks at the reason for why Tim Tszyu should have stopped the fight in a different light. Again, from Boxing Scene, written by Mr. Lance Pugmire, we know him very well, and titled Deep Waters Recap. Lots of blame to be assigned from Tim Tszyu's first defeat. Right? This is what Paulie Malignaggi says. Against his old business moves, but it's not right, he states. Tim Tszyu saved your show. He's talking about PBC. He deserves a rematch. Now, the reason why he's talking about the rematch, right, is because of the stuff that homie Ricky and you brought up. right? Which is that it seems that Sebastian Fedora is gonna be fighting Errol Spence, or he's gonna fight Terence Crawford, and he's not gonna rematch Tim Tszyu, right? And Paulie Malignaggi is approaching this as if the PBC has an obligation to make things right for the PBC on account of Tim Tszyu having saved the show. Do you agree with that? Do you think the PBC owes Tim Tszyu a rematch because he decided to save the show by not stopping the fight at the fourth?
Uh, yeah. I mean, I think they should feel obligated, but I know they're not gonna move that way. They're gonna try to gather as much money, obviously, for the fighters. At this point, it's not the matter of Tim Tszyu wanting the rematch. It's whether or not it's feasible, and if the money's worth it. And I don't think I don't think they would want to fight someone in Tim Tszyu if he offers less money than a Crawford or a Errol Spence. Sadly, and I think they're gonna knock at that door first. They're gonna knock on the Spence door first, and they're gonna see like if they can actually make it happen, and try to bank in on that payday. And I'm not sure that it's debatable whether which one is will make them more money. Because I think Tim Tszyu is the highest risk. Well, no, Terrence is a high risk as well, but he's also probably more money. I'm guessing. I don't know. I wouldn't be able to tell you that. That's just I wouldn't be able to say like for sure like which one will sell more. But I think the consensus is that fighting an Errol Spence would make you the most money because you sell out at Dallas Stadium, and all that, and he's a PBC fighter. Um, so they're trying to do everyone a favor and get everyone paid. So I like I think that's the business route that they're gonna take. Obviously, in my world, um, I want that Tim Tszyu fight in Vegas. I think this fight should have been in Australia, you know, um, in the beginning. But now that Fundora has a belt, that wouldn't be fair. Like why do I as a champ have to go to your land? Like go to your home. Like so at this point, it should be like in the states. Not sure where. Obviously, maybe Vegas, but um, that's my ideal situation right there. And there's options. There's options for like as far as like for building up for a first 154 bout for
Mhm.
Spence. There's plenty of options for him. He like I can I wouldn't mind seeing, like I said, Keith Thurman. That would be perfect. Um, I like not even like a Lubin, bro. I think he has a hard time against all these guys. You know, so that's why I don't think it would be a good idea for him to just go straight into the heat. He needs to see how a 154 flesh feels. You know,
Yeah.
um,
I do too. I do too, especially after the beatdown. If we're talking about Spence, right? But yeah, I not only do I think it's proper for Spence to take a tune-up fight, or at least not a championship caliber fight for the belts, because he obviously needs to get acclimated to the weight and to test himself, mostly because of the test. See, he has to climb up the ranks. He is a fighter with no belts climbing up the ranks to the next weight division, and he's going to get a shot at belts. I find that to be ludicrous, especially when we have a fighter who has dibs at those belts because he is undisputed at 147. That's Terence Crawford. Most of these sanctioning bodies, they actually promote and encourage the fighters from the belts, from that hold most of the belts or their belts, like the WBA, to go up or down to fight their champions. That's why they allow that. The WBC tried to do the same thing by creating the franchise entitlement, in order for the champions to go up to fight their champions at the next weight division, because they like to see pound for pound fights. They like to see unification fights like that. And Spence does not offer anything like that. I agree with homie Ricky. He has no leverage when it comes to the 154 belts.
And
But continue on with that idea. What I'm trying to get at is Paulie Malignaggi sounds like he's new to this. See, here's the thing. I just brought up the to your
he's not
attention,
new to anything, bro.
but he's acting like it. He says Tim Tszyu saved the PBC show and he deserves a rematch simply because he saved the show. But this is not the only thing that sounds illogical. I mean, this guy already knows how corrupt the sport of the boxing is. Listen to what he says. He goes on and says he was Tim Tszyu, of course. He was preparing for a 5'7" right-handed fighter in Keith Thurman. And instead, you switch him to a 6'6" left-hander on 2 weeks' notice, and he still took the fight and winds up making it a great show, a terrific show. He doesn't deserve to be faced out for doing the right things for the fans, by staying in the fight, and for PBC, by taking the fight in the first place. He's basically trying to say that Tim Tszyu deserves a rematch because Tim Tszyu saved the fight card, because Tim Tszyu decided to take a last minute replacement, because Tim Tszyu decided to do everything for the sport of boxing. But
Yeah,
here's the thing though, you are under no obligation to take a last minute replacement. You signed on for a contracted fight against Keith Thurman. The decision to fight a 6'6" southpaw instead of a 5'7" orthodox fighter was Tim's
well, guess
decision.
what?
The
So
fact
guess
that he
what?
decided to go and fight past the fourth is Tim's decision and his team. The fight that he decided to entertain the fighters at his peril is Tim's. And the reason why I value that and appreciate that is because he did it as a warrior. But that does not mean he deserves to be provided a rematch because Paulie Malignaggi expects the sport to do right by Tim. No, man, this is the most corrupt sport of
Well, guess
all.
what? Look, they value playback. Like pretty much on YouTube. Like
Uh-huh.
they're trying to get those views up as well. If you didn't see, they posted some videos on YouTube, or the full fights on YouTube. So
Uh-huh.
they value that as well. I mean, if you can get us some views and have people tune in on our YouTube page, and get us some views, then we value that as well. And I think
Uh-huh.
that's also what he means by that as well, by saving the show. Um, that was the main event, but there was Rollies versus Pitbull as well. That kind of boosted the ratings. I think that card was hella entertaining
Boy,
from top to
I
bottom.
said it was the
You know,
best 75 bucks that I'd ever spent in pay-per-view
yeah,
ever.
yeah. So like it was a really good card. So
Yeah, I
um,
agree.
it wasn't just him. It was a group. It was a group effort. From all those
Yeah, but
guys.
do
They
you?
all good. They all got cuts except for Rolly, but that ended up in a knockout. So they all got cut. There was blood in almost every single fight. So
Yeah, and here's the other
yeah.
thing that Paulie Malignaggi addressed, which is basically the way that Sebastian Vendora and his promoter Samson Lukowitz are quote unquote, or better yet, not quote unquote, maybe trying to screw uh, Tim Tszyu out of a rematch. He states that that all of a sudden, after the winner was declared to be Sebastian Fundora, that Errol Spence Jr. climbed down the ring and he says to Fundora, "It's time to fight the big dog." Okay, so what are you, Spence? Are you a dog or are you a shark? I guess maybe it's been determined that he's no longer a shark, so now he's been reduced to a land walker, and a dog. But that Sam Lukowitz embraced that notion, that he actually liked the notion, and he stated that Tim Tszyu needs time to recover and heal from that cut. So in the meantime, he is willing to let Fundora fight Errol Spence, but at the cost of this agreed upon and verbal contract that they had. Basically, Sam Lukowitz, the promoter for Sebastian Fundora, when they were negotiating the fight at the last second with Tim Tszyu, apparently they didn't have enough time to write out the contract completely, but that they agreed verbally that that should Sebastian Fundora win, they would grant Tim Tszyu a rematch. Now that is exactly what happened, right? Now they don't have it on paper. So So the fact that Sebastian Fondora's promoter, Samson, said, I like that idea. I like Spence. That would mean, wait, what about that agreed upon contract? And Samson says, no, no, no. If Tim Tszyu wants it, he says it's up to Tim. If Tim Tszyu wants it, even though we don't have it on paper, there was a verbal contract, but we never got to detail it. But if he wants it, even after he needs time to recover, we'll do it. But I also like Spence. That's when he decided to backtrack and say, oh, no, no, wait, wait, wait. Of course, we'll wait on Timmy. But let me ask you something. If there is no contract and written in paper, there's no John Hancock's, is there really a rematch clause? I don't think so. I don't
No,
know
I mean
many
that's what
states.
sucks. That's what sucks. They didn't have that on written paper, so they didn't have that written on paper. I mean, like in the contract. So, um, they're gonna have to renegotiate if that's the case. But Samson is pretty vocal with what he's trying to do, man. Like he's doing trying to pretty much do the biggest payday, And I'm not sure if Terrence Crawford can compete with the. I'm pretty sure it can. It does sell, but compared to a Tim Tszyu rematch, they're just trying to get more money at this point. Like unless he vacates that belt, and then Tim Tszyu gets another opportunity to fight for his own belt, um, against I don't know, like a Crawford, and then have a Fundora actually fight Errol, then I wouldn't mind that. But I mean, Tim Tszyu just lost. How's he gonna get a opportunity without getting his lick back?
Yeah,
He needs to get his lick back, or he needs to work his way up again. You know, and
yeah,
because it's hard to see a loss and then getting an opportunity. Like we're keeping that same energy with Arrow. Why wouldn't we want to do that for Tim? So um, it's got to be the rematch, for Tim.
yeah.
So that's.
So okay, so we'll see what happens with this fight. We'll see what the deal is going forward. But I just found it very hilarious that Paulie Malignaggi, if I'm not mistaken, Paulie Malignaggi lost a few fights while he was a pro because I'm not too sure if you knew this, but his two was always he always had it broken, so he always relied on his jab. I actually seen at least two fights where Paulie Malignaggi won the fight with nothing else but movement and a jab. Just moving in the jab, moving in the jab. He never hurt his opponents, but moving in the jab, moving in the jab, because his hand was his I think it was his right hand um was just useless. It was always injured. So he got screwed of a couple of fights just because he never had power. Because of course he's popping with a jab, right? And he ended up being screwed in a couple of the fights that I was like, what? He just tagged the guy, yeah, but you know, he really didn't do anything else besides throw a jab, so he's been screwed. So I just found it hilarious that Paulie Malignaggi is speaking so innocently, like
Well,
if
this is the
he
thing.
doesn't know that the sport of boxing is so corrupt. Nobody owes Tim Tszyu nothing.
But this is the thing. On Paulie.
Uh-huh.
Paulie was was legit, bro. Like the thing is, he didn't. His power didn't transcend. in the upper and the bigger weight classes. You know, he was
Uh,
really good in the lower weight classes when he first started his career. He was that dude, bro. Like he was a contender. Like he wasn't like the best in his division, but he was always giving dudes a hard time. You know, and it was just like his flashiness. You know, like he was that dude, bro. Like I respect Paulie. I respect his his opinion on most things. You know, I think he does overreact sometimes, and he's just an old headed, not super old, but he's very vocal, and he does like he's done a lot for boxing, bro. Look, he's pretty much I think he's the founder of Pro Box, right? So
he's one of them, along with Juan Manuel Marquez, and I think
so
it
he's
was
saved.
not Roy Jones Jr. I think it was uh, Tevin, no, Farmer,
Hmm.
Tarver
He's
is another
so
one, and this Puerto Rican guy,
so he's pushing the
little guy.
needle.
Yeah,
He's
he
pushing the
is.
needle, and I think Errol Spence is. I mean Errol. Fuck, why is he in my vocabulary, man?
You
Um,
must have some kind of a man crush on the guy.
Nah, I think I have some kind of vendetta. Nah, I'm just kidding. Uh,
He lost to
what's it?
somebody.
Yeah, nah. What's it called? Roy Jones. Roy Jones is in it too. I think, if I'm wrong, but in Showbox, so they're pushing the needle, man. Um,
Rafa Marquez, maybe. Yeah, but there's a lot of fighters that invested in the
uh,
Pro Box app. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
definitely a team
How'd I
venture.
get there? Oh yeah, yeah. No, I respect Paulie for the most part, but what was it? What was the subject for that? How'd I get into
Oh, well,
that
you were
subject?
just saying that Paulie Malignaggi, you respect his opinion because
Yeah, yeah. Before that,
who knows?
now you because I yeah, you said something. You said something.
Yeah, I was just saying that Paulie Malignaggi is speaking like he's innocent, like he doesn't know the sport is corrupt,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
or
But
doesn't know you anything. It's
yeah,
the one constant. You gotta look out for yourself. That's why I understand
but he's
some
also done
fighters
his thing.
that.
He's also done his thing in commentary for a long time. Like he was part of the HBO days too. You
Yeah,
know.
but he obviously has a bone to pick about Canelo. Canelo could never win in his side. He said, "Oh, Benavides, Benavides, Benavides."
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, I get it, buddy. But Benavides ain't done squat either. Um, so yeah,
Yeah.
so another topic, another very violent war took place the next day over on Peacock here in the United States, and I think it was Sky Sports over there in the UK. Fabio Wardley, he
I
fought.
didn't watch it.
Wow, you missed out.
Nah, I
So
mean, I've seen the highlights. Like I've seen both of those guys fight, and God, man, it's some of the most frustrating fights that I see for the most part. Like they have such a hard time putting their dudes out, you know, and they're sloppy at the end, at the later rounds. Like I know that's just like the nature of like the heavyweight division. Like most of these dudes, like aren't as sharp as obviously like the lighter divisions, but like man, like like Fraser Clark, like so damn slow, you know. But they're powerful dudes, you know. It's just sloppy boxing, you know. Like it's cool. It's good to see like some of the like they are one of the best heavyweights in UK, you know, like one of the better ones. But um, I don't know. I think I'm not. I think it's coming from a dude that's more interested in the weight classes that are my size, you know, which is like obviously that. And if you're like 5'9" or like 6 foot, I want to see who the best dudes are like at those sizes. You know, I'm also interested in lighter weights, but I'm not too interested in the bigger guys fighting, like unless they're like like the best all time. You know, like Fury. I just want to find out who the best heavyweight is in the world. Like for the most part, bro, like they it's a pretty sloppy division. You
yeah,
know.
yeah. No, I have been following these guys. Also, I don't discriminate on weight sizes and colors or nothing. If they're fighting and they're gonna give it all, I'll watch it. So if you know anything, you mentioned sloppy, right? Um, so yeah, they
It is
looked.
sloppy, right?
Well, it was a bit sloppy on the side of Fabio Wardley.
Yeah, yeah, he's a
But
sloppy fight, man.
well, do you know? I mean, do you know
Sloppy.
both of these guys were light skinned black guys, if I'm not mistaken? Do you know who is who? I just want to know. Do you know who the sloppy one is? Like, do you know who Fraser Clark is? Do you know who Fabio Wardley is? Can you tell them apart?
Yeah, I mean Fraser Clark is he's bald, and Fabio Wardley has hair on him. What do you mean?
Is that right?
Yeah, no, no, no. Fabio Wardley's like a little darker, like way darker. Not way darker, but they're definitely two different. Like pigments.
So no, it's the other way around, dude.
What do you mean?
Fabio Wardley is completely clean shaven, and Fraser Clark is the one with the beard.
No,
So wait,
Fraser Clark is bald.
oh, I mean, you mean by the top of the head?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, both of them are bald.
Fabio Wardley was bald too.
Okay. No, I get it. I get it. Oh yeah, he does have a little bit of hair.
Bro,
Fabio Wardley does have a little hair. But what I
Wardley
mean
used to
is
have like
that
curly hair, like
what?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Before
Fabio
though.
Wardley curly hair. I'm gonna start looking Fabio Wardley with hair. Let me
Yeah, no,
see
he had
here.
hair. He had a full set of hair, from what I remember. But he had hair. He had hair, bro.
I've never
Clark
seen him with hair.
Was the one that's bald. Is the one that's bald.
So
Go
okay,
ahead.
so Fraser Clark is bald from the head, but he has a beard.
Yeah, yeah,
And Fabio Wardley is shaven from the face completely hairless, but he
yeah,
has
yeah.
like a number one or a half. He has like a
Well,
half.
well, he's had hair. He has hair.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you're right. So, anyways, um, the sloppier one in this fight was, of course, Fabio Wardley. And do you know the reason why he would have been more sloppy than Fraser Clark? Can
Why?
you?
You
Well,
tell
you're
me.
not gonna
I thought you
believe
telling.
this.
I thought
You're
you
not
telling
gonna
me your
believe
opinion.
this.
Uh huh.
Um, Fabio Wardley, who has become the British British and Commonwealth champion, and those are very important belts for Britain, mind you, because they're lineal, right? They harken back hundreds of years or whatever. The reason that Fabio Wardley is so sloppy is because he never had a professional career.
Mm. Wardley.
Okay, yeah, Fabio Wardley has never fought a professional fight in his life.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying? This guy is nearly 30, and the body snatcher, Dylan White, he found him probably just punching a bag, just for funsies, and he picked him up, he signed him, and he put him as a pro.
The
Never
hell.
having had an amateur fight,
Mm.
and now he's the British and Commonwealth champion in Britain. Now we know how big Britain is with their boxing. We
I
know
thought
they
Wardley.
started professionally sanctioned fights, right? Uh, that's where the Queensbury rules come from. They basically created the organized sport of boxing. This guy, Clark, who has 17 wins, 16 by knockout, one by decision, and one draw, obviously, which was the one that just took place this weekend. Um, he never fought an amateur fight. So you saw some of the lack of technique. Like, for example, I'm not too sure if you saw this, but I'm sure you did because you're mentioning it. Towards the last rounds, because, it lasted 12 rounds, if I'm not mistaken. The last 3 rounds or so, the ref was telling Fabio Wardley, yo, stop slapping, stop backhanding, because so Fabio Wardley was trying to chase his opponent, but he couldn't hold up his arms anymore. Because mind you, he has 60 knockouts. He stops his opponents. He doesn't let it go to the 12th round, but he's fighting the best fighter that he's fought before in his life, right? Well, obviously because Frazier Clark, he's an amateur standout, right? Frazier Clark is an amateur standout who's actually fought for Britain in the
The Olympics.
Olympics. Yeah, exactly. He fought in the Olympics and also in Tokyo in 2015 and 2020, if I'm not mistaken, something to that effect. So he's this accomplished fighter who took the bronze. So if you saw a fight where one guy uh, was the guy who looked more technical, knew how to move better, knew when to throw his punches, when to capitalize on the mistakes of the other. That would have, of course, been Frazier Clark because he had that experience, right? But then you had this guy that never fought as an amateur, who was placed as an adult to fight for Britain, and so far he's undefeated, and he even knocked down Frazier Clark. But at the end, he was so tired of pursuing the knockout that he was just throwing his hands like, how when you like, like what a pimp slap is, right?
Mm.
Okay, that's when
Yeah.
you wind back and then you like stretch it forward. So he was pimp slapping.
What's the degree of the wine back?
Let me see. It's
45
uh
degrees.
wait. No, no. It's 180.
Oh wow. That's a
Yeah,
big
because
slap, bro.
yeah, yeah.
That's a lot of force, bro.
Well, yeah. I mean,
That's a
you know what?
knockout.
When I pimp slap, I
God
put my
damn.
hand to my
That's
heart.
like that's how they pimp slap in the cartoons and shit.
Well, it's like this. And look, so when I pimp slap, what I do is that I put my head to my shoulder like I'm pledging allegiance, like my hand to my heart, and then I boom stretch forward. That's a 90-degree angle, bro. So like
uh,
a 45-degree would be like you stretch it to like the side, and then you start stretching.
damn.
You swing it. The other. No, I
Imagine
think I'm a good
extending
pimp. I'm a good pimp.
180 degrees, 180 degrees
Oh,
for a pimp slap. Damn.
yeah, you would have to put him on the side of you. Like, okay, can you stand here
Yeah.
by my shoulder?
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's true. Damn.
Yeah, no.
That's funny. Go ahead.
Yeah, he was pimp slapping. He was so tired that he couldn't like throw a proper jab. So when Frazier Clark would move circle to his left, he would like pimp slap, and the guy was like, "Yo, hey, stop doing it, stop doing it." He told him 3 times, and then even by the third time, Fabio Wardley was like, "Hey, sorry, I'm just my my hands are just hanging there." But it was a very fun fight between two undefeated fighters with two different career paths. One with no amateur boxing experience, just thrown there with the Lions, and the other one who had a standout amateur experience, and he ended up fighting a guy who just picked up from the street, and both of them did well, both of them capitalized, and I actually thought that it was a draw in the sense that I thought Fabio Wardley won 6 rounds. I thought Frazier Clark may have won 6 rounds, but here's the thing though, check this out. Fabio Wardley knocked down his opponent, if I'm not mistaken, like around the fourth or the sixth. Then that would have given one extra point to Fabio Wardley. And Frazier Clark got a point deducted when they hit him in the when they hit him uh, when he hit his opponent in the low blows, right? So I think I think what's going on is that they may have made it a little closer on pointage. Uh, Frazier Clark should have easily lost, but they had it a draw. So Fabio Wardley keeps his belts. But it was a very bloody fight, man. I know that you didn't see it, but I would say that if you have
Yeah.
Peacock, I would encourage you to watch that fight because it was a very bloody and fun fight. In fact, if I was to show you an image of Wardley, Wardley was bleeding from the bridge of his nose, and he was bleeding very much so, like a mixture between Tim Tszyu and Sebastian Fedora. It was a
Mm.
very fun fight, and all I drew was like the conclusion that I drew. Dream was that I like to watch bloody fights.
Mm. Yeah, no, it was a great fight, man. I I agree. Now, hey, I'm gonna take a shower, bro. Like, give me like 3 minutes. Two.
Oh yeah, like a prison shower, 3 minute shower. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I got everything ready right here.
Okay, yeah, yeah, you go do your thing, man. I'm gonna talk about some other stuff that's not boxing related, but hopefully, we don't have many listeners anyway, so I'm just gonna go on and ramble. Yeah. So, anyways, if anybody start listening, I think I'm the only guy there. Uh, if you seen Wardley versus Clark, were you entertained? Did you think the right fighter won? It was well, there was no winner. Uh, it was deemed a draw. But do you think that's the right decision? And even so, in the case of Fandora versus Sue, was that the right decision? That Fandora took that win. The other thing that I wanted to talk about, right, is our history of blood sacrifice, violence, right? The letting of blood to satiate our violent nature, right? When I was watching these fights, and I wrapped up this overwhelming weekend of fights, and that wasn't even a weekend of fights. It was a week of fights. We had fights on Wednesday, on Thursday, on Friday, on Saturday, on Sunday. Two of the most bloody fights in recent years: Fabio Wardley, Frazier Clark, and Tim Tszyu versus Sebastian Fundora. Right, and I thought to myself, "Wow, why do I like watching this?" Right now, we know that it's cultural, right? For for an individual like myself, a Mexican American that calls himself a Chicano, to love to watch boxing, love to watch fights, to give props and credit to anybody, irrespective of color, race, creed, nationality, because all we care about is the fight. If you know how to fight, we'll give you credit. It's simple like that. But of course, we also have to state that the reality of the matter is that people that come from a Mexican lineage, we come from people that have historically sacrificed each other and the lives of others of our own in order for us to please the gods. But maybe we were just doing it to please ourselves, right? And I was just uh I was just thinking, okay, maybe that's something endemic, something inherent in us, right? The people from Mayan or Aztec blood, to just accept that bloodletting, bloodshed is something that will be part of our culture. It's something that we may not change. In fact, here in the good old US of A, we have gang warfare. Brown individual killing brown individual. I know that it's not something particular to the brown individual, because blacks do it also. Whites have their own gangs. They kill each other. So in that sense, we have those commonalities. But we do know that we kill each other here, and no longer worshiping the sun god, but worshiping gangs or our differences because of regions that we may live in the state of California or whatever state they may be from. I know that the narco cartels continue to kill other Mexicans for power, and they do so violently. But I just wanted to remind some of our listeners, reading a quote about how violent people that were Aztec were back then, right? I have a few books about Mexican history, Chicano history. So we always harken back to those roots. And this is what this writer stated. The normal procedure was for the victim to be held down on a stone block by four priests. His heart would be plucked out professionally by a chief priest using a flint knife. The heart would be burned, the head would be cut off and held up, the limbs would be ritually eaten with maize or chili by noblemen and successful warriors. So we are used to killing each other. We are used to blood. We savor it, right? But are we the only ones that have a taste for blood? Whether for good or for bad, that the fact that we are unafraid of blood do make Mexican fighters the type to come forward, subject themselves to harm in order to execute more punishment and more harm to their foes. It's like the Mexican national anthem states, Mexicanos al grito de guerra, Mexicans at the ready, at the screams of war. But I was thinking, why is that the impression that we get? Are we the only ones that have historically been into sacrifice? And it turns out that no, of course, we brown individuals from Mexican descent, we have many things in common with other people, such as the Celts from the Celtic regions. The Celts practiced human sacrificial killing as part of their religious rituals, and there's extensive evidence to prove it. Mesopotamia, the people back in olden days, sacrifice was practiced within the royal tombs of ancient Mesopotamia. The Chinese, the practice of human sacrifice was very common in ancient China, particularly during the Shang dynasty. The Inca believed firmly that there was an afterlife where the children who were sacrificed would live in a better, happier place. The Aztecs, also known as the Mexica, periodically sacrificed children as it was believed that the rain god Tlaloc required the tears of children. The people of Carthage, ancient Egypt, the Etruscans, Israelites, Mayan, native Hawaiians. The Hawaiians believed that by sacrificing humans, they could gain the favor of Ku, the god of war and defense, and achieve victory in battle. The Israelites. Before the decree of Leviticus, the Israelites often practiced human sacrifice, which included children, sometimes even to the foreign god Baal. It seems that humanity, irrespective of race, color, creed, or nationality, we've always practiced the same bloodletting, right? And everything. I was watching this thing called I Instagram, right? And I found that to be very bit scary, sickening, really. I was watching this one video, and there's this person that uploads a short video when they're talking about who's that black guy? I forget that black guy's name. It's this daytime show host, Steve Harvey. So Steve Harvey is talking to some kind of um, I don't know, this cosmetics individual. This person sells cosmetics, beauty products, and things of that sort. And she talks about how she's selling this here product that the famous people use, like the rich Hollywood type that never seem to age, like Sandra Bullock and they show some of the people that use those products. It turns out that she says they're used by stem cells, by foreskin stem cells. I was like, what you mean foreskin? Like there's only like foreskin cells, right? Uh and I was like, well, Okay, what do you mean? You like cut off the foreskin of a man and then you grind it up and then make it into some kind of beauty product you put in your face and then all of a sudden
What
you
the
got no
fuck?
wrinkles? Like what do you mean? Right? And oh, you're back, huh?
Kind of. I'm changing. Hold on.
Yeah. Did you hear? Like
Mm.
wait, did I send you that little thing? It was like Steve Harvey interviewing some lady and she's
Yeah,
selling like
yeah, I
beauty
seen that
products.
one. I know which
Okay,
one you're talking about. Yeah.
she said her beauty product was made out of foreskin, uh uh foreskin cells, right? Remember she said that.
Yeah, yeah.
And Steve Harvey was like, "What?" And then they put on his face, right? They get a close up on his face, and what the funny thing was, Steve Harvey didn't have a wrinkle.
Hold on.
Do you get it? Oh my goodness,
Yeah, no, I seen that. That shit's funny.
dude. Okay, you know how old Steve Harvey is?
Nah.
He's 67 years of age.
Wow.
Does she look 67?
Mm, kinda.
Really? A black guy
Nah.
with mustache, darkest the night, no
Nah.
wrinkles in his face. He looks 67.
Nah, he looks like in his 50s.
Okay, so do you think he's putting foreskin cells on his face?
Do I think? I guess.
Well, that's what the lady was selling, right? She was
Yeah,
selling beauty products made out of foreskin blood cells, and you put it on your face and you never get wrinkles.
that's funny.
Now, I don't think that's funny. That's disgusting. And then
Well, I
and
mean, you
then
wouldn't
they
be surprised.
uh
What if there's a lot of things like that? You know, what if I don't know. What if a lot of these fucking creams have like that type of shit, except from like other animals, or you just never know.
well, I mean, we know that a lot of these byproducts are made by animal. I mean, a lot of these products are made by animal byproducts. Like for
Yeah, that's what I'm
example, my
saying.
kids don't seem to believe it, but glue is made out of horse blood, and gelatin is made out of horse hoof. You know that, right?
No, I didn't know that about gelatin. That's
Well,
disgusting.
okay, yeah, I guess so, right? But it's like okay, it's I guess a horse hoof is a lot like tendon, right? Like a hardened piece of tendon. It just dries up, and then whenever they kill a horse or whatever, they just cut off the hoofs, and then they just grind it into a powder, and then they sell it to you, and they put flavoring, and then it just hardens with water, right? That's gelatin. You didn't know that?
No, I didn't know that. That's
Are
nasty.
you are you gonna eat gelatin now?
I never had. I never really had. It's been years since I have.
Well, wait, didn't you just accompany us for this weekend's fights? We just celebrated the homie Ricky's birthday while having cake and eating gelatin.
I didn't eat gelatin. I didn't see the gelatin.
You didn't see that multicolored gelatin with red and green cubes and
Oh
pieces of
yeah, I
fruit,
seen it. Yeah, yeah, I
but
seen
you
it.
didn't eat none. Oh man.
I had the fruit. Fruit
Yeah,
was
yeah,
good.
yeah. There's no horse hoof and fruit though, but
Oh
there
yeah,
was on the gelatin. Hey, well, you're lucky.
yeah.
Uh, I ate that though. I ate that though.
You ate it.
But yeah, of course it's gelatin.
You know
What
what
am
I
I gonna
like?
do?
I like
Uh,
chorizo. Nah, just kidding.
well, you know what chorizo is made out of, right?
That's what I'm saying. Like it's like the worst shit ever.
But it's good though.
It's fucking phenomenal.
And a lot of the time, the most disgusting things are delicious though. Like it comes to case in point, right? These fights that took place last weekend in particular, Tim Tszyu versus Fedora, that was disgusting, dude.
Yeah, yeah, that was it was nasty, man. I mean, that but the yeah, yeah. I don't know. Were you trying to
It was
go back?
disgusting. I'm trying
Yeah,
to
were you
say that
trying?
humans are disgusting individuals, man. I'm like, you mean I just read out all the cultures that have sacrificed humans, especially children, for the sun gods or for their gods or for their dirt gods or land gods or air gods or whatever. And it doesn't It's not limited to the Aztecs, the Celts, the Mesopotamian, the Chinese, the Incan, the Aztec, Carthage, Egyptians, Etruscans, Israelites, the Hawaiians, the Mayans. They've all they've all gotten their faces covered in blood, like Tim Tszyu and Sebastian Fedora did. And when you think about the concept of blood, right, this fluid of vitality, you don't think, oh yeah, hey, that looks good. You think, "Bleh," like that's, dude, that's disgusting. Have you ever killed an animal and peeled it, especially like a goat or a sheep?
So when I was like 12 years old, I went to my uncle's part of the family, like the one that fights, or the boxer. He has his family owns like a piece of land. We used to go out there, and they used to hunt, and I used to tag along, and I done seen some things, man. Like I seen the deer. Um, Pretty much I seen how they actually like fillet them up and cut them up, like they pretty much did it from, you know in the woods, and did it like right in front of me, and I just seen how it all how they break it down and all that stuff. So I've seen it, and all as well as a squirrel. I've actually eaten squirrel before, and it was like pretty damn good because they did a
What?
phenomenal
Good?
it was they did a phenomenal job with the seasoning. Like they spent all day seasoning that thing up, and it was super good. Like it was chicken.
Really?
Oh yeah, it was so good, bro. Like I don't even know. Like yeah, it was good, dude. But the deer wasn't. The deer was like too tough, tasteless. Like the deer was like okay. I mean, I can see like how beef jerky could be good. Because it's so tough. And that's what I like. There's a toughness from the beef jerky if it's seasoned right. But like deer, it's like deer meat, it's like really tough if you're cooking it like the same day, or like type of thing. Like it's just too tough.
Uh-huh.
I rather eat it when it's thin, and like a beef jerky,
Yeah. Yeah,
but
actually, that's funny that you mentioned beef jerky. My son is into beef jerky. I'm talking about my little guy. He's 10. And the other day, I took him out practicing baseball.
mm,
And so we had a good workout, 2 hours, making him run after pop flies, hitting grounders, making him run left, making him run right, and practicing on the slides and playing pickle. And so he was wounded. He was really, really tired, right? So he
mm.
was thirsty. And me, I'm the one who's just swinging the bat and hitting these balls. So I'm not tired at all. So he said, give me a water, Dad. Stop by right here, 7-Eleven. And I go, okay, cool. He goes, can I get beef jerky? And we, yeah, of course. He worked hard. Can I get this? Yeah, yeah, go for it. So he gets this beef jerky that's like, I don't know if it's like a Slim Jim. Was that a Slim Jim? It's a Slim Jim, but it's a 2-pack, right? It's a Slim Jim, and it comes with a big old long piece of cheese.
Oh yeah,
Have
yeah,
That's disgusting.
yeah.
The
Oh yeah,
cheese is
yeah,
the disgustingest thing in the world. It doesn't taste like cheese. It breaks off like I don't know, hard. It's weird. It's like
yeah,
this.
yeah. Well,
It's disgusting, right?
I've tried the string cheese, like the Monterey Jack string cheese. That with beef jerky is fire. But I know what you're
Oh
talking
yeah,
about. The
yeah.
cheddar
That
cheese,
the
like
boxy cheddar cheese.
yeah, the cheddar cheese you can't even shred. It's just a block.
Yeah, it's a block. Yeah, you can't shred.
Yeah,
You can't slice. You just break off a piece and throw it
yeah.
in there and make it go
It's not
well with the
even
fat piece of Slim Jim. And I gotta tell you, man, Slim
Slim
Jim
Jim. Slim Jim
doesn't
with
hold up.
queso. Slim Jim with queso fresco is fire. Just saying,
Really,
it goes hand in hand. Yep.
really.
Especially with the Tabasco beef jerky. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm
But
gonna have to check it out because I was like, man, this just tastes like grease. Like this is not like because
it's
well,
just the
see, here's the
grease.
thing. Well, I'm spoiled, right? Because my wife, uh, you know, my wife, she's probably working very hard right now. God bless her. She ended up having to start. Well, she didn't have to start working. I kept her at home, being a stay-at-home mother, taking care of the kids, taking care of the things around the home and stuff like that for the longest of time, maybe like about she's close to 20 years. Uh, but now that times got tough, she decided to no longer be as pinched with the money. because just one income is it's very very hard. So she ended up helping out. She's working right now, so God bless her. Thank her for her sacrifice, and no longer seeing her kids much because she works long days and otherwise. But nonetheless, she has this coworker who makes his own beef jerky. And man, I'll tell you one thing: making beef jerky, do it yourself with your own seasonings, dehydrating at your pace, using finer cuts of meat. Man, you'll never go back from the for that 7-Eleven beef jerky. You'll buy some of that habanero, tapatio, black pepper, salt, everything. He'll do everything, and he's so good at it. So I won't even. I tasted the Slim Jim, and I was like disgusted. Like Mr. Vince Vargas says, no nutritional value with beef jerky with that cheese. Absolutely not. It's a piece of. It's like it's a plastic outside. It's like a little thin layer of plastic, and it's finely ground substance with grease all over. Like you touch it and it's covered in grease. Old Trapper, huh? Oh, Old Trapper. You ever heard of that one? Dream Old Trapper jerky.
Yeah, that's like the old fashioned. I think the old fashioned jerky that's tough and it's like seasoned good. Like, if I'm correct, like nicely thin slices of beef jerky. I mean, I love beef jerky though, or
So have you ever had in
Slim Jim,
Bacadillos? Have you ever
huh?
had in Bacadillos jerky from Ace Hardware?
Mm-mm. No, I
Yeah,
don't think so.
it's good stuff, man. It's good stuff. They have one called a Bonero. I don't know if you guys know this, but I can eat uh, the hottest peppers, and I'll beat anybody. I'll beat anybody. You bring me a
Really?
hot pepper. Oh, what do you mean? You never see me?
Did I go with you to Monterey to that spice shop? It's
I
like
know
a
that I went with the homie Ricky, and I survived. I think it was 5 drops of that ghost pepper essence, and
yeah. I think I was with you.
okay, yeah, yeah. Well,
Yeah, I
then
was
you
with
saw
you.
me like about 5 minutes later when it hit my liver.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember. I was with you, dude. Okay.
Okay, yeah. I was like,
Perfect.
oh, I
Perfect.
was
I
like, oh,
remember.
guys,
It's
yeah,
crazy.
this really burns. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
that's
dude. I remember your stomach was all messed up.
yeah for like 5 10 minutes,
That shit.
but
I couldn't believe it. I was like, dude, your stomach really is hurting from five
well, it
drops
was my
of.
liver. Well, so there's this thing called the appendix, right?
Yeah.
So there's this thing on your right quadrant, on your
So we're
lower
about to
right.
go to the hospital.
Well, people do go to the hospital
I know that's why you get your appendix removed.
to get your appendix removed. And I thought my appendix was going to go out because I just felt that stab right there. And I know what the appendix is because I've had to deal with those kind of situations. Not for myself, but I mean, in general, I've had to deal with people that have had to
Mm,
get their appendix extirpated. But I felt that I was like, oh man, did I just make this mistake? Am I gonna land in the hospital with incision in my gut? But no, again, that was just proving that my stomach can take it. I am very well known for eating everything spicy. In fact, I actually took a hiatus because things weren't even spicy anymore. Uh,
mm.
I just stopped. Like I was just okay, and
You know
now
what
I
I'm?
eat a jalapeno, and
Mm,
it's hot. It's like okay, that's strange.
hmm
Jalapeno is like drinking water for me. It was just so that I can have some, like grass flavoring with my food. But now it's a little
hmm
spicy because I've stayed away from it.
Yeah, you know what I've fallen in love with is spicy barbecue sauce.
Spicy barbecue sauce.
Yeah,
Like what?
it's hot and sweet sauce, pretty much.
Like
Like
like make your
any,
own?
no, they have them out there. They have them out there. Like these, like it's pretty much like ketchup. It'll say like spicy on it. Like yeah, they're getting creative with that shit. So I've found like I like some of that shit. Like you know this hot and sweet and hot, however you say it. But yeah, no,
Have you ever had my do you like
I
spicy stuff?
no, not too crazy though. I do in a sense, like it just depends, right? Like you got to go with some like something good on the side. I can't eat it by itself, and sometimes it will be good enough, you know, to be by itself. But um, nah, I like what's that sauce? What's that stuff they put on the Wingstop fries? They put we have some of that seasoning as well,
Cajun.
right?
Cajun.
Uh, mm, no, it starts with the P, I think.
Hmm.
Or God, yeah, it's like this.
Wingstop. Wing
Yeah, yeah, it is. No,
stop.
it's not Cajun. Is it Cajun?
Fry seasoning. Let me see.
Pica,
Wingstop fry
pica.
seasoning.
What's that seasoning that they put? It's pica. Um,
Pica. Never heard of that.
no, not pica. Yeah, I must get it wrong. But anyways, there's this seasoning that
Pica.
that I you know, you find out what you like, you know, and I realized it's this seasoning that I fucking fall in love with, and they put
Really?
that in some restaurant fries, and it gives it this like, little kick to it. I found out what it was. I gotta look at my cabinets, but we got
Huh.
some of that stuff, and it's like the spicy gives it a little kick, and it kind of disappears. You know, like like you know, if it doesn't stick around, but it gives you a little kick. It might be Cajun. No, it's not Cajun. Um,
Cajun.
but that
Oh
shit is
man.
good though. I know what you're talking about though. That shit is good. But they put something else in that to give it a little kick. Um,
Really? I
yes.
wonder. I'm trying to find out what it is.
I'll let you
Size,
know.
seasoned fries. They just call it signature seasoning. Uh, wow, Louisiana Voodoo. Oh, so see, they have the Louisiana Voodoo. They're served with cheese sauce, ranch, signature Cajun. They have buffalo ranch fries, Cajun fried corn, and veggie sticks. It has to be Cajun, man.
Yeah, I think it might be. It might be fucking paprika.
Ah, yeah, okay.
Paprika. Started with the P. I was right.
So it's paprika, right? It's not paprika.
No, my mom says it paprika.
Yeah, I think you're
Yeah, I
right.
think you're right. Yeah, so that's what the shit. How do we get into the subject?
Oh well, because I don't know. But hey, so do you have you ever had my Aztec paste?
Aztec
Aztec paste.
paste, like toothpaste?
Yeah, but it's not for teeth. It's for food. It's
No,
just
no.
habanero
Oh, wow.
mashed with special mixture of and preparation that I make, and it's absolutely like hot, like one of the hottest things you'll eat. But at the same time, it's one of the most delicious things you'll eat. So you just like if you're like a beginner, you can just like dab over your food a little bit and it'll break you in a sweat and it'll start tingling your palate and your tongue and your lips and it will it will make you start snotting over, but if you get used to it,
Mhm.
you notice how flavorful it is and how it
Hey,
complements every type of food.
hey.
Paprika.
So when I was sick, when I
Hmm.
was sick, dude, they had these little the ginger shots, right?
Hmm.
Uh, but it's a company that makes the ginger shots, but they have ginger shots, and then they have energy shots, and then they have like immunity shots. Like, bro, it's like these little tiny little bottles. It's called
Yeah, I've
Soja
seen
or
them.
something like that.
Yeah, soja. I've seen them.
Dude, you tried those?
Yeah, once or twice. Yeah.
Don't they work like magic?
Man, I better go get one right now, man. I got snot and I got to work tomorrow, and I
Bro,
just actually got out for the race.
oh really? Congrats.
Man,
Congrats.
if I was to tell you why you should be congratulating me, you'd be like, "Wow, it took him that long." But,
Yeah.
but yeah. Thank you very much, man. Yeah. But what about? Thank you for reminding me. I might even go get some right now, man.
No, it works wonders, bro. Like literally, like I chug it and I'm like, oh my god, like it's like this little boost in energy, you know, like all of them really, like they all kind of work. To me, it all works the same. You know, I
Yeah,
can get energy shot and it'll literally feel like I just took an immunity shot, you know, but
yeah,
they have all those shots, the ginger, um dude, you take one of each, like for like at 1 hour set apart, it's like that's your day right there,
yeah.
you know. it works wonders. I love that stuff.
Yeah,
You
thank
know,
you for telling me. I'm gonna go get one. I'm not too
the
sure how we ended up here though.
spices and shit, because spices really do
Well, we were
help a
talking
lot of
about
shit, man.
how gelatin is made out of horse hoof, and the school glue is made out of horse blood,
Yeah.
and from there we just started going off on how some food stuff are pretty disgusting. And oh yeah, you said chorizo. I was like, okay, I don't know chorizo, but yeah, that's pretty disgusting, man. In fact, I was reading somewhere, if I'm not mistaken, that pozole, pozole, right? Or menudo, actually, menudo. Um,
What's pozole?
Pozole is like
I'm fucking around. I'm messing with you.
oh, you know Pozole?
Yeah, I know pozole.
Yeah, he's cool.
Yeah, I know a
So
guy.
I
No.
know a guy knows a guy. So there's menudo. The old Mexican way is and I'm not talking about the group from Puerto Rico or nothing like
Oh,
that. It's menudo is made out of the guts tied up of the, I think it's a pig or a cow, but it's guts and it's liver and its heart is just all of the innards chopped up into a hot spicy sauce, and then just thrown up in there, and then that's what they would make menudo. But I believe that in the old days, menudo was human.
what?
Yeah, man.
In the old days? Like what? How old?
Like when us Aztecs were cutting off people's head and putting out the heart while it was still thumping.
So you think that dish has traveled? I don't even know what the word to use. Not it's more than generations. Us, uh, centuries. Um, centuries, pretty much. Uh, and now we pretty much, put animal fat in it
Hmm.
and corn. And you're saying it was the same way back in the day, except with human?
I think so.
What makes
Or
you say
maybe
that?
that's, or maybe I guess I think I read that, or maybe this just one way to make us people of Mexican descent seem more sanguineous and violent that we really are, because a lot of the times um the reason they think that Aztecs were very violent individuals is because when they ended up finding that pyramid over there, it had a bunch of skulls, on the floor underneath, all from all of the heads that rolled, and then the dirt just covered them up, and they were unearthed. But I think maybe people just think that we were ultra violent, and a day when maybe perhaps it wasn't that um ultraviolet. But I think I read that, man. I'm not making this up. I think I read that.
That's fucking crazy. I don't know what to say. That's crazy.
See, it says right here, at the base of the pyramid, this body at the base of the pyramid, which was the human offering, would be taken by the Cuacuacutli, or the older men of the Carpoyi, or the neighborhood barrio. That's what no what that's barrio neighborhood uh, word for in what. There, Sagahun reports that the old men would portion out the body and cut it into pieces and distribute those parts. Supposedly, Moctezuma received the whole thigh for himself. Like Moctezuma apparently received the thigh of a human sacrifice, apparently insinuating that they would eat the human. They would.
And as humans, we can't eat brain, right?
What
Like
do you mean?
that's bad. The brain is not good for us to eat.
I did
It's
not know
po-
that.
it okay, so the brain, if you ever try to even eat a human brain,
Uh huh.
your body wouldn't be able to digest it because it has too much DMT in it. You're eating DMT and you're pretty much gonna die after that. It's poisonous.
Are you
Did you know
talking
that?
about humans' brains raw or prepared?
Any form or fashion of brain.
Really?
Yes.
But
It's
it
not
mean
good.
only human, right?
Yes. Well, who
So,
knows? Who knows what other
because
type
I've
of
ate
mammals?
cow brains, I've ate beef brains.
Well, I'm pretty sure they would have said something, but I know for a fact human brain it's poisonous. It has too it's DMT, You can't. You wouldn't be able to eat it. You'll die. Like you'll. That's what from
Wait,
what I
wait,
heard.
wait, 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 wait. Let me hey, anybody have a cell phone here that I could borrow? I want to show something. I want to play something. Can I borrow somebody's phone here? There's this video. I'm not too sure if I send it to you,
Oh yeah, that
but
yeah.
okay, that guy was eating human brains.
Yeah, probably in the form of punishment. You
What do you
can't eat
mean?
brain.
He
That
was
dude's probably
being
dead.
punished?
That dude's probably dead right now, dude. You can't eat brain. You can't eat brain, bro. I learned this in my EMT class.
He was eating brain.
Yeah,
He
I
he
mean,
was eating human brain. So if you guys aren't, this
look it
is
up. Let me.
so
I'll YouTube it right here.
CNN's. I was reading this report by on People magazine. It says CNN's Reza Aslan sparks outrage after eating human brains in the new show, and he states it
Dude, I
tastes
don't even want
like
to use.
charcoal.
I don't even want to Google it because I don't want them to track me. Be like,
What do
damn,
you mean? Who's
this guy's
them? What are you talking about?
this guy's fucking crazy.
No, it's on it's on Google. What do you mean? It's
Okay.
on People magazine.
No, I was just
Like,
gonna
how
ask
do you
you.
open it? Look, let me see. Uh, Reza Aslan.
Yeah, my Google,
Reza
not even.
Aslan. Human brains. So okay, so this guy named Reza Aslan, a reporter for CNN, he went to uh he went to India, and he was studying. He was studying this this tribe in India who's apparently cannibals, right? And here's the funny thing, right? Religious scholar and television host Reza Aslan is facing backlash after he ate part of a cooked human brain with a Hindu sect as part of his new show CNN, uh, called Believer. Uh, Aslan 44 is accused of mocking Hinduism after featuring the fringe cannibalistic sect of the faith in his new show Believer, a six-episode spiritual experience where he explores the world's most fascinating faith-based groups. And he states, quote, "Want to know what a dead guy's brain tastes like? Charcoal. It was burnt to a crisp." Right? So let me play this thing. Is there volume in this? Put volume on it. Are you able to hear me?
Yep.
Okay, play it. Look, here we go. Listen to what happens, look. I wish I could show it. So this guy is wearing this cannibal. This cannibal puts up pieces of jawbone. Like there's at least two pieces of jaw. I think it may be human, and other dead animal pieces. And he makes a crown out of it, and he hangs it on this reporter's name, Reza Aslan. Right? He makes him wear this crown of bones and teeth and blood. Right? And he's interviewing him, and he's with these cannibals, and it's just him and the producer who's recording everything and holding everything with the mic, and they've covered his face with charcoal of a dead human. They burnt down some kind of a human, and the remains they made it into some kind of a paste, and they covered his face up. Right. So here we go. So he's saying, "Can I take this off?" Right? Because he has these dead pieces of human flesh and whatnot on his head. And then the main cannibal guy, he slaps him. He's telling him, "No, get the blood, put the parts closer to your face." And he starts making these gestures like slap your face around with the blood, right?
Mm.
So they take it off because he's like a punk, right? And the main elder guy puts it back on. So the cannibal takes offense because he noticed that Aslan, he wants to take off these body parts from his head. So he takes it away from him. He goes, "Give it back to me," and he puts it on his own head. And then he starts asking the interviewer, the interpreter, like, "So why does he like to wear these things?" And before he even answers, he gets all mad. The cannibal does it. He goes, "Should we eat the living? Should I show you by eating my own flesh?" So now he's getting very upset, right? The cannibal is getting upset, and Roslan is like, okay, what do I do, right? So he's gonna start telling this partner, like, "Yo, I think we should get out of here," right? Let me see.
Thank you. Why are people on that side of the river so afraid of the Agori? I see. Why do
I will cut your head off if you keep talking so much. Oops. Look what this reporter tells him. Look,
feel like this may have been a mistake? Just like somebody distracts him and I just leave. Let's just see where it goes. Be polite.
did he hear what happened? He tells his camera guy, um, "I think maybe we should distract them. Maybe one of you guys can distract them while I walk away." And then his reporter guy is like, his camera guy is like, "Nah, let's just see where this goes." So some guy is threatening to eat him alive if he doesn't shut up. So he gets scared and he tells his camera guy, "Look, why don't you distract him while I leave?" And the camera guy ignores him and he tells him, "Nah, let's just keep recording." Man, I'll tell you what, man, these people are so crazy. The Mexican G says, "What the F?" Absolutely, Mexican G. Like, these are, there's people out there that eat human stuff. And Drew right now, Dream is saying that you cannot eat human brains because it'll give you too much DMT in your body and you'll literally become intoxicated and you die. But this guy apparently ate human brains and he survived about it. He even made 6 episodes of that TV show. So I'm not too sure what to think about that, but but all I can say is that this history of humans just being into blood sacrifice, and all of this is not new. This is not new. I'm talking about Sandra Bullock admitting that she puts on beauty products that are made of human foreskin, ground up human foreskin and stem cells in her face. Like, disgusting. Apparently these people are doing everything necessary to be youthful forever. Their face, their skin might be fresh and full of life, but inside, that's an old soul. That's a tired soul. An individual that's seen too much, probably is wearing the weight of the world on their shoulders, all the nasty things that they've done so far, and they think that by looking pretty and beautiful and youthful, is gonna cover up how old and barren their body is. I don't know. I don't know about you guys. I don't think I put any materials made out of human flesh on my face to look young. I'd rather go old, wrinkled, feeble minded, and weak than to look as beautiful as them putting on foreskin and blood and stem cells on my face and my wrinkles. That's disgusting. Yeah, but I found that to be very interesting. Steve Harvey talking about how interviewing this lady that sells blood products. beauty products made out of blood and placenta cells and all these things. And he puts on this face like if he's surprised, but yet he's the one that looks like he's never had a wrinkle in his face. Like I'm like, man, you know you're using those products. Salute to you, Hard Recoil. And yeah, thank you very much for hopping on this here live. Um, we were just having a little fun talking about all things blood and the violence, not only about this past week's fights. We had a very amazing fight between two undefeated heavyweights from Britain, and Frazier Clark and Fabio Wardley, one of the fights of the year so far. I know keep saying that so much, but it's like I told the homie Ricky, this year is gonna live up to be a great one, just on the fights that are being made. Like last year, 2023. Oh yeah, that's the thing. The Mexican G, adrenochrome is what you're speaking of. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They didn't say that word, right? Like Sandra Bullock and Steve Harvey and Oprah, they didn't say adrenochrome, but the commenters on the little video that I seen, they kept mentioning adrenochrome. I didn't have an opportunity to research that. Like I don't know what it was, but there was people that were not spelling out the word. You know what I mean? Like they were putting one part of the word and then putting the other part of the word separate, so that the word would not be, I guess, maybe identified by whatever kind of schematics or AI technology that some of these websites, Instagram, YouTube use in order to censor. It's like when they say undead or something like that, when they mean to say killed or otherwise. But I get that. Maybe there's something about that term right there, adrenochrome, that that maybe triggers some people or some kind of reaction from the YouTubes or the IGs. I don't know too much about it, and I have an opportunity. I just found it to be scary, disgusting, and somehow all of these things kept leading to human blood. I read about how they just killed a couple of days ago a mayor for Celaya. She was running for the mayor of this town called Celaya in Guanajuato. I've been there before. It was a very beautiful place when I went maybe 25 years ago. Uh, I saw some of the most beautiful women over there. When I went trucking with my older cousin who lived over there in the nation state of Mexico. We stopped by, and I guess this lady was running for mayor, and she got assassinated right in front of everybody. Some guy walked up to her, point blank, boom. And I was like, okay. My mom kept telling me about that, and she kept saying that so far they've already killed about 14 people that have been running for political positions, whether for president or otherwise. And I was like, man, what's going on with the people from from where we come from? It was just, yeah, sad. And it just opened up those doors about sacrifice for how we are as people of Mexican descent. We kill ourselves out in the streets as part of gangs. We kill ourselves out in Mexico as part of narco violence. And but I just, as I pointed out, the Hawaiians, the Israelites, the Celts, the Mesopotamians, the Chinese, the Incan, uh, the Carthage, the Egypt, all of these folks, they used to practice the same thing. So it's not only endemic to us, but it was just one of those things that I started to learn a bit more of as I started to research, more of our own history. But yeah, it was. I believe the theories. That's real stuff. There's science behind it. Um, you mean of that adrenochrome? Well, yeah, I don't know what that is. Still, the Mexican cheese sounds like some kind of I don't know, chemical. I don't know, but maybe something in the blood or something like that. Because the lady said she was selling uh beauty products made out of foreskin, and I don't know what kind of foreskin they talking about, but yeah, found that to be a bit weird. I know that you can take stem cells from placentas, stem cells from umbilical cords. But you would have to have a whole bunch of placentas and umbilical cords in order to make all those kind of products. Adrenochrome is basically young blood from young children. Yeah, that's what that yeah, I didn't get to read that much, but I know that they were talking about that. But it's strange because all of these cultures uh that I just read, let me see if I could look him out again, because all of them seem to have that, right? uh Goodness, where is this thing at? um uh Fraser Clark, Fabio Wardley, Chandler. I was looking to buy a house in Chandler. Can you go blind if blood gets in your eyeball? Hyphema. um Human sacrifice. Oh, okay. No, no, that's not it. Yeah, so there was all kinds of stuff that I somehow just ended up digging into as I was, trying to investigate more about why it is that we have this penchant for blood and violent sports. And yeah, that's where I ended up finding out about, these beauty products, and this guy that eats brains. And now Dream is talking about how you could go you can die if you eat brains. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's, maybe I should just keep it boxing, because it's it's some crazy stuff out there. Disgusting stuff, actually. um and I'll leave you with that, ladies and gentlemen. Just to wrap up this your life, Tim Tszyu is a hell of a warrior. He gives it all in the ring, and I don't chastise him for that. I'm not going to be one to frown upon his performance, his willingness to go and entertain, his willingness to subject himself to very much harmful experience in order to win the most righteous way, which is by knockout. Because if we can criticize someone like Shakur Stevens for doing the opposite, which is being completely overly cautious to the point of always being inactive, doing everything he can to avoid harm and to solely win, Tim Tszyu is the complete antithesis of that. I value men like Sebastian Fundora. I value men like Tim Tszyu. I value men like Oscar Valdez, Fraser Clark, Fabio Wardley, that go out there and do everything solely to entertain us. Maybe we do have a penchant, an affinity for violence here in the Mexican American, and Chicano cultures. But as I pointed out, it is not endemic or particular to us. The Hawaiians, the Israelites, the Scottish, the Celts, the Mesopotamian, the Egyptians, the Indian, the Hindus, we all love it. And in that case, I guess we could say we're all human and similar. And the Mexican G is still not sold on Tim Tszyu. But you know what, Mexican, if he fights Errol, the, I can't even say Errol the Truth Spence anymore. I guess Errol the Big Dog Spence Jr. If he beats him, would that convince you? Or if he beats someone like Erickson Lubin? Yeah, okay, I remember that. You said that he's like Chavez Jr. People wanted to be better than he really is because of his dad. Um, I don't know, the Mexican G. I actually see a lot of commonalities between him and Saul Santos Alvarez Barragan. Um, I I liken him to the Australian Canelo, and we all know that, to be like Canelo, you don't just have to have the skills. Even though I think they have similar fighting styles, um, you have to take on all the fighters that nobody wants to take on. And he is calling Spence, and he is calling Crawford, and he is calling for a rematch against the guy who left him a bloody mess, Sebastian Fundora. I will value Tim Tszyu as long as he keeps to his word. And guess what? Past Saturday, he said that he was going to go out there, not duck any smoke. He was going to go and entertain. He was going to pursue the knockout, and he said he wants all the smoke. And he lived up to all of those things so far. He took a last minute replacement, which was the complete opposite type of fighter than what he was scheduled to fight. He could have had the fight halted on the fourth and let it become one of his belts for him, and maybe keep the other one on a vacancy. Maybe he could have had a draw the same way, but he still would have held on to a belt. But he decided to duke it out and fight, even though he was bleeding profusely. If he can continue doing that, just that sense right there, just in that part right there, that he was bleeding out so much, I wonder, would Canelo have done the same thing? Would Canelo have continued the fight? Maybe he'll win you over. Maybe he won't, Mexican G. But I believe if anybody's going to keep their word and fight, anybody and all comers, it's going to be that man right there. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been fun. I hope to do this soon enough. I hope next time it won't be as disgusting. I hope it won't be as scary talking about like blood and foreskins and stuff like that. But hopefully we'll just stick to boxing. But I just found it very, very strange how this whole week was just about blood. Brains, blood. Blood from foreskins and now blood from babies. Goodness. Mexican G. Mr. Vince Vargas. Hard Recoil. The homie Ricky. Dream. All of our listeners tonight, I appreciate Mr. Vince Vargas. I appreciate you all having listened to this rambling idiot. One day I won't be so much a rambling idiot. Maybe someday I'll say something intelligent, smart, and fair. I bid you adieu. Until next time, engage. Absolutely.